Have you ever had an issue with mold in one of your real estate transactions? Or do you know someone who has had an issue or a transaction ruined due to mold? If you had mold growing inside your own home, would you want it to be treated? How many of you would like to look like a hero to your clients for offering them a cost-effective treatment for mold? Hello, my name is Josh. I work with the largest privately owned inspection company in North America, the Elite Group Property Inspection Services. Today, I'm going to talk to you about mold. This has been a dreaded topic for many agents because it has been known to kill transactions. Either the buyers are scared of the health effects of the mold, or the cost to remedy the mold is so high it kills the deal. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about why mold should no longer kill your transactions. I'm going to explain some of the many misconceptions about mold, as well as the benefits and negative aspects of mold. Lastly, I will discuss a cost-effective treatment that is revolutionizing the mold industry and saving real estate transactions. The first misconception with mold is the difference between mold and mildew. Both are fungus. They are living, breathing organisms. Hundreds of years ago, they were classified in the plant family because of their plant-like attributes. They both have roots and they pollinate spores. The difference between the two is that mildew only grows on living plants. If you ever see that white fuzz growing on a leaf, that is mildew. Mildew relies on certain nutrients that are only found in living plants. Where does the confusion come from? Over the years, people have adopted calling mold mildew. This is due in part to how bathroom products are marketed to the consumer through the Label Law Act. This act allows manufacturers to place 90% of correct information on the product and 10% can be used for marketing purposes. In the store, we see mold and mildew cleaner, and people begin calling mold mildew. If you see something growing in your bathroom and it's on a living plant, it is mildew. If you see something growing on an organic material such as tile, grout, drywall, wood, etc., it's mold. Another misconception is that mold, the darker the mold, the more harmful it is. Everyone's heard the term black mold. This is also incorrect. Mold can be any color, including pink, red, blue, because it pulls the pigment from its feeding source or host that it's growing on. There have been about 300,000 types of mold that have been identified, with an estimate that there are 1 million more types that have yet to be identified. They can all range in color. There are about 10 types that have been known to be more harmful than other types of mold. These include Penicillium aspergillus and Stachybotrys, and other names that are way too difficult to pronounce. Stick around because I'm saving the biggest misconception until the end of this video. Not only is there confusion about the color, people are also confused about the conditions needed for mold growth. Some say mold cannot grow in the sunlight or high temperatures. This is not true. Mold only needs 3 things to grow: air, food, and moisture. Mold grows in the desert, it grows underwater, and it also grows in Antarctica. Now let's talk about some of the benefits of mold. Remember, the biggest misconception about mold will be revealed towards the end of the video. First, did you know that some molds are used to ferment beer and wine? Millions of people drink beer and wine every single day. I even have a glass every once in a while. Did you also know when someone's face gets flushed, if they just drink a little bit of beer or wine, they're actually having an allergic response to the molds that were used to ferment that beer or wine? Second, we've all heard of penicillin. Penicillin is a mold that has saved millions of lives. Does anybody know anyone who is allergic to penicillin? Third, we consume cheese, yogurt, and mushrooms, which are all forms of mold or fungus. Lastly, mold lives everywhere in nature and acts as a biological pesticide, controlling weed growth, insect populations, and plant diseases. It also breaks down all the leaves, trees, grass, etc. If mold were not in our environment, the planet would be stacked with leaves, trees, grass, etc. because it would never be broken down. Mold is great for the ecosystem. With all the benefits of mold, it also has a dark side. There are mold spores blowing around in this room right now, and wherever you are right now. Our bodies continually combat these, whether we are inside or outside. Our reaction to mold depends greatly on our immune system and on the level of exposure. Mold has not been concretely linked to autism, leukemia, cancer, asthma, or any ailments it is accused of causing. For every study that comes out claiming these negative effects about mold, another comes out refuting the claim. One of the reasons for this discrepancy is because of the unique body chemistry of every individual. Every person reacts differently to the different types and amounts of mold. I could walk by mold on a wall this big, and you walk by it and you stand by it for the whole day and you would have no response to it. Overall, mold is very allergen-like, and each person has a certain threshold of tolerance before it begins to elicit a response. The problem with mold is controlling the levels we allow inside our homes. It is estimated that people spend about 90% of their time indoors, so air quality is very important. Mold becomes an issue once it begins to colonize inside our homes. Mold that is colonizing will shoot off spores in an attempt to spread. These spores begin to elevate the levels higher than they are outside and what our bodies are used to dealing with. This elevated count inside our homes can put your body over the threshold level it can handle and begin to affect your body through your respiratory and circulatory systems. That is why it is super important to address mold in your real estate transactions. What allows mold to begin growing inside our homes? Mold is a symptom of water intrusion. We know it takes 3 things for mold to grow, and since air and food are throughout the entire home and are not controllable, the only thing we can control inside our homes is the moisture. Moisture intrusion can be caused by a leaking pipe, leaking roof, improper grading, condensation leaking off AC lines, etc. It can also be a problem in our homes due to humidity and condensation. It is estimated that a family of 4 breathing and perspiring in a home contributes to 25% of the humidity inside their homes. Condensation deals with the temperature changes in the air or surfaces in our home. Hot shower water meeting the cold air in our bathrooms. If our bathrooms are not vented properly, there is now an issue of moisture intrusion. It is important to address the moisture intrusion as this is what is actually causing the mold growth. Solutions for mold growth. There are remediation techniques and there are also treatment techniques. The average remediation cost in California is around $21,000 and the process lasts 3 to 4 weeks. This is one reason why deals fall out of escrow. This is because it is believed that you have to remove the surfaces that mold is on instead of cleaning them. This has been true for a long time. However, there is now a proven treatment that can destroy the mold without having to remove the surfaces in many cases. Our company recommends a company called Green Home Solutions. Green Home Solutions uses an enzyme-based treatment that is fogged at 10 microns. The enzyme saturates all porous surfaces where mold grows. It can even go completely through furniture, carpeting, drapes, clothing, and penetrate porous walls. The enzymes break down the harmful proteins found in mold and renders them inert, basically harmless to humans. This process takes as little as 2 days, and in most cases, it is much more cost-effective than typical remediation. Now to reveal the biggest misconception about mold. People think that bleach is an effective treatment for mold. Bleach is not an effective treatment for mold. Years ago, the EPA and OSHA had put out statements that bleach is an effective treatment for mold on non-porous surfaces. People took the first part of the statement and left out the latter part. Remember, mold grows on porous surfaces. When you use bleach to treat mold, you are essentially wiping off the top of the plant and leaving the root systems in place. And weeks later, the mold grows back. All the while, you're spreading the spores to new areas and watering the roots of the mold because bleach is 70% water. If you bleach mold and do not wipe it all away, all you're doing is changing the color of the mold. You're bleaching out the pigment just as you would stain a shirt. Lastly, I would like to leave you with the story of an agent and investor who did not address mold properly in one of their flip properties. There was a home sold down in LA for about $750,000. The buyer moved into the property, and within a couple of months, they noticed mold growing underneath their kitchen sink. During that time, the agent and buyer had become friends on Facebook. The buyer happened to see a post of the agent's asking how to remedy mold in a house on one of her listings. Bleach was a common response. The agent must have used bleach and then painted over the surface. The buyer ended up suing the agent and the investor for $220,000 because the mold had returned and completely consumed an entire wall of the house, making the homeowner sick. The agent's E&O company only agreed to pay for the court cost, and both the investor and the agent were on the hook to pay $220,000. So mold doesn't have to kill your deal, your reputation, or your career. And that's why you should call the Elite Group for all of your mold testing needs. Mention this video and I'll give you $50 off. Thanks so much for watching.